They told me that being an invisible intern was the only way to survive the corporate ladder. Keep your head down, do not make eye contact, and never step out of line if you want to keep your job. But on a rainy Tuesday morning in the center of our crowded corporate lobby, I chose to break every single rule for a complete stranger. An elderly man stood completely alone and ignored as busy employees rushed past him. When his hands began to move in desperate silence, I realized nobody else understood what he was trying to say. My name is Hazel Vance, and at 22 years old, I was just a disposable marketing assistant at Zenith Media. The position sounded incredibly prestigious to my family, but my daily reality consisted of printing endless spreadsheets and fetching lukewarm coffee for people who did not even know my name. I had spent months blending into the background because I believed that remaining unseen was the safest path. My confidence had slowly eroded over the years after facing countless rejections in college, leaving me quiet and constantly hesitant. The only person who truly kept me grounded during those difficult times was my 8-year-old brother, Leo. Leo was born deaf, and he possessed a vibrant energy that could easily light up any dark room. While our parents struggled to adapt to his silent world, I dedicated every spare hour of my life to learning American Sign Language. I practiced finger spelling late into the night and volunteered at local community centers to perfect my communication. It was the one skill I possessed that brought me genuine pride, even if it felt entirely useless in a corporate office. Zenith Media was a frantic environment where success was measured solely by profit margins and high-profile clients. My supervisor, Regina, was a demanding woman who viewed interns as nothing more than automated machines. On that fateful morning, she ordered me to organize promotional materials near the main entrance while she prepared for a massive presentation. As I stacked heavy folders, I spotted an elderly gentleman in a tailored blue suit standing by the reception desk. He looked utterly lost, and his anxious eyes dazed around the busy room as if seeking a lifeline. The receptionist was completely overwhelmed and dismissed the elderly man with a cold wave of her hand. He stood there silently, clutching a worn leather briefcase while his fingers began to trace letters in the empty air. He was signing for help, yet dozens of wealthy executives walked right past him without offering a single glance. The heartbreaking scene reminded me so much of Leo that my chest tightened with sudden determination. I ignored the warnings of Regina echoing in my mind, dropped my folders, and walked straight toward the isolated stranger. As I approached him, his tired eyes met mine with a mixture of confusion and profound sadness. I raised my hands and signed a warm greeting, asking if I could assist him with his search. The transformation on his face was immediate and beautiful as relief washed over his features. He signed back quickly, expressing his gratitude because he believed that nobody in the building would understand him. He explained that he was there to see his son, but he did not possess an official appointment for the day. When I asked for the name of his son, his fingers spelled out a name that made my heart stop. He was looking for Julian Sterling, the powerful and reclusive chief executive officer of Zenith Media. Julian was a legendary figure in the business world, known for his cold demeanor and ruthless leadership style. I realized I was speaking to Arthur Sterling, the father of the most powerful man in our company. Despite the risk of getting fired for neglecting my duties, I guided Arthur to a comfortable seating area. I immediately dialed the private office of the chief executive to inform his personal assistant about the visitor. Her voice was sharp and dismissive, telling me to make the gentleman wait while she checked the schedule. As we waited, Arthur began to share stories about his life using beautiful sign language. He told me about his past career as an architect and how his late wife had taught him to communicate. I sat beside him, completely captivated by his warmth while my phone buzzed repeatedly with angry messages from my supervisor. I chose to ignore the constant warnings from Regina because making Arthur feel valued was far more important than any spreadsheet. I even took him on a quiet tour of the creative department, showing him the vibrant designs on the walls. He smiled with genuine joy as he observed the fruits of the hard work of his son. However, our peaceful moment was shattered when we returned to the lobby and saw Regina marching toward us. Her face was flushed with anger, and her heels clicked loudly against the polished marble floor. Regina grabbed my arm roughly and demanded to know why I had abandoned my post during such a critical hour. She whispered harsh threats, telling me that my internship was officially over and that she would not protect me. Arthur watched the interaction with deep concern, his smile fading as he realized his presence had caused me trouble. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but a deep voice suddenly echoed across the silent lobby. Julian Sterling was standing near the elevators, his intense gaze fixed entirely on us. The entire lobby grew incredibly quiet as employees stopped in their tracks to witness the unfolding drama. Regina instantly released her grip on my arm and began to stammer an excuse to her boss. She claimed that she was simply disciplining an irresponsible intern who was wasting company time. Julian walked slowly toward us, his face an unreadable mask as he looked at his father. He told Regina to remain silent, stating that he had observed the entire situation from the balcony above. My hands trembled as I prepared for the worst. To the absolute shock of everyone present, Julian ignored Regina completely and knelt down in front of his father. He slowly raised his hands and began to sign, his movements awkward but filled with deep emotion. He signed that he was deeply sorry for making his father wait in the lobby. Arthur gasped, tears welling in his eyes as he realized his son had been secretly practicing sign language. Julian admitted that he had been wrong to let work create a massive distance between them over the years. Father and son embraced in the middle of the crowded lobby, a powerful moment that moved several onlookers to tears. When they finally pulled apart, Julian turned his attention to me and asked me to join them in his office. Regina tried to protest once more, but Julian cut her off firmly and told her they would discuss her behavior later. As we rode the glass elevator to the top floor, my mind raced with anxiety and wonder. The cold corporate exterior of the chief executive had completely melted away. We entered his magnificent office, which featured stunning views of the city skyline and polished wooden furniture. Julian bypassed his executive desk and sat directly next to his father and me, establishing an atmosphere of equality. He looked at me with genuine respect and thanked me for showing his father such incredible kindness. He confessed that he had failed to make his father feel welcome, but my actions had taught him a valuable lesson. I explained that I only did what I hoped someone would do for Leo. Julian listened intently as I described the challenges my younger brother faced in a world that often ignored the deaf community. He admitted that Zenith Media often preached about diversity in corporate brochures, but failed to practice those values in reality. He declared that he wanted to change the culture of the company immediately, and he needed my help to achieve it. Julian offered me a newly created position as the Director of Accessibility and Inclusion, reporting directly to his office. My jaw dropped in complete disbelief. I hesitated, pointing out that I was merely an inexperienced intern who had not even finished college. Julian smiled warmly and stated that empathy and courage were far more valuable than decades of corporate experience. Arthur squeezed my hand gently, his eyes urging me to accept the incredible opportunity before me. I took a deep breath, looked at the two men, and officially accepted the position. When we left the office, Arthur hugged me tightly and signed that I had helped reunite his fractured family. That evening, I initiated a video call with Leo to share the unbelievable news of my promotion. His face lit up with pure joy as I signed that my new job would help make workplaces better for people like him. He jumped up and down, calling me his favorite superhero, which brought happy tears to my eyes. On Monday morning, I walked back into Zenith Media with a renewed sense of purpose and a clear mission. I was no longer the invisible girl hiding in the dark shadows. Over the next 6 months, I worked tirelessly to transform the physical and social landscape of Zenith Media. We installed visual alert systems throughout the building and hired qualified interpreters for every major corporate event. I established weekly sign language classes for the employees, which quickly became incredibly popular. Even Regina joined the classes, eventually apologizing to me for her past behavior and admitting she had lost sight of humanity. Our collective efforts did not go unnoticed by the business community. Our company eventually received a prestigious national award for fostering an inclusive work environment. As I stood on the grand stage to accept the trophy, I looked out at the supportive crowd. Arthur sat in the front row, signing his enthusiastic applause with a proud smile on his face. Beside him stood Julian, who looked like a son who had finally found his way back home. I realized that true inclusion is not about writing empty policies, but about choosing to see the human beings around us. I started my journey as an invisible intern, but I discovered that a single act of kindness can change the entire world. We must always possess the courage to stand up and speak for those who are being ignored by society. Family is defined by empathy, loyalty, and the willingness to connect across any barrier. If this narrative touched your heart today, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell for more inspiring stories.